Step away from that plane. A pilot calls the police on a young black boy just for standing near a jet. But seconds later, his dad shows up, and what the pilot learns next shocks everyone. He wasn't just any dad. He was the FAA Administrator. What happens next? You won't believe it. Eyes, stay tuned. This story will leave you speechless. Hey, you, step away from that jet. The voice sliced through the morning air like a knife. 12-year-old Jamal Carter stood frozen beside the sleek private jet, his eyes wide with excitement. He wasn't touching anything, just admiring it. His dream was to become a pilot. Planes fascinated him, but the pilot approaching him didn't see a curious kid. He only saw a young black boy near an expensive aircraft. Do you even belong here? The pilot, Captain Rick Monroe, barked. I'm just looking, sir, Jamal replied politely. I love planes. I want to fly one someday. Captain Monroe scowled. I'm calling airport security. Or better yet, the police. You're trespassing. The passengers nearby turned to look. Some began whispering. Jamal's smile faded as he stepped back, heart pounding. Minutes later, 2 officers arrived at the small private airport. Monroe waved them over furiously. That boy was snooping around my plane. Could be trying to steal something or plant something, he said with suspicion. Jamal was trembling now. I didn't do anything, he said quietly. One officer put a hand on his shoulder. What's your name, son? Jamal Carter. Where are your parents? My dad's inside, talking to someone. He said I could look around. Just then, footsteps echoed across the tarmac. A tall man in a sharp blue suit, carrying a briefcase, walked calmly toward the scene. Is there a problem here? The man asked, voice calm but firm. Captain Monroe folded his arms. Yeah, this kid was lurking around my plane. I'm sure you're his father. You might want to teach him not to sneak around restricted areas. The man looked at Jamal, then at the officers. Then he took a deep breath. I'm Derek Carter, he said, pulling out his ID. The moment the officer read it, his expression changed completely. He straightened up and gave a sharp nod. Sir. Apologies, sir. Captain Monroe looked confused. Wait, who are you? I'm the FAA Regional Administrator, Mr. Carter replied, eyes locked on Monroe. And this airport falls under my oversight. The air turned cold as Monroe's jaw dropped. Derek Carter stepped closer, voice still calm. My son wasn't trespassing. He was in the observation zone, a public area. Perfectly legal. But he was near the plane, and you assumed it meant danger? Why? Because of his skin color. Monroe tried to speak, but couldn't. Derek continued. This is exactly the kind of discrimination we work hard to root out. A young boy inspired by flight should be welcomed, not criminalized. One officer looked ashamed. The other coughed awkwardly. I've spent 25 years working in aviation, Derek said. I've dealt with terrorists, safety breaches, and mechanical failures. But nothing is more dangerous to this industry than people who judge others by how they look instead of what they do. Jamal watched silently, pride rising in his chest. Monroe finally found his voice. I'm sorry. I didn't know. That he had a father in authority? Derek asked sharply. Would you have cared if he didn't? The pilot looked down, humiliated. No, sir. Yes. I didn't mean any harm. Derek shook his head. That boy is more knowledgeable about aircraft than most trainee pilots I've met. He spends hours reading flight manuals, watching simulations. He's not a threat. He's the future. Then, turning to the officers, Derek added, I won't be filing charges, but I will be reporting this incident to your department's ethics committee. The officers nodded respectfully. Finally, Derek turned to his son. Ready for your surprise? Jamal smiled. What surprise? I pulled some strings. You're getting a private tour of the control tower. Today, Jamal's face lit up. Are you serious? Monroe watched as the two walked away, father and son side by side. The same boy he accused, now walking into a world he barely understood. Later that day, Monroe sat in the airport lounge, staring blankly at his coffee. Word had spread fast. Several crew members avoided eye contact with him. One quietly muttered, You really messed up today, Rick. But Jamal was having the best day of his life. From the control tower to sitting in the co-pilot seat of a decommissioned jet, he got to live his dream. As he watched planes take off, he whispered, One day, that'll be me up there. And his father, standing behind him, simply said, "I know it will." The incident sparked headlines online. Boy harassed at airport turns out to be FAA admin's son. Young aviation fan wrongly profiled. Pilot faces backlash. But more than the headlines, it sparked conversations. Conversations about bias, about the importance of representation in aviation, about judging less and listening more. And somewhere, high above the clouds, the future of flight had a new name: Jamal Carter. Never underestimate someone just because of how they look. You never know who they are or who they'll become. Like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories every week. Take care and see you in the next video.